The Last House on the Block by Sammys. Chapter 5. Living in Faith. The days passed, and my body continued its decline, but my heart and soul were growing stronger. MS had taken so much from me. My mobility, my independence, my ability to do the simplest of tasks. Yet in all of that loss, I found something I never expected. A deeper, more intimate connection with God. I began to understand what it meant to live by faith, not by sight. My body might have been failing, but my spirit was thriving. Every day I woke up and chose to trust God, to believe that He was with me in the midst of my pain and struggles. I had nothing left but Him, and for the first time, that was enough. But it wasn't just about me anymore. The more I embraced this life of surrender and faith, the more I began to realize that I wasn't walking this path myself alone. I wasn't walking this path for myself alone. I had a message to share, a message of hope, of peace, of the transformative power of God's love. I began to see how my experiences, my pain, and my struggles could help others who were lost in their own darkness. I remember one day working on the waterfall and feeling the weight of the day pressing on me. My body ached and the fatigue was overwhelming. But then I thought about my daughter, Madeline, and the life she had now. She had seen me at my worst. But now at 23, she was thriving. She and her boyfriend lived with me, and we had built a relationship that I never thought was possible. I was present in her life, and we shared moments of deep connection and joy. It wasn't always easy. There were days when the weight of my illness felt like too much. Days when I didn't know how I would make it through. But even in those moments, I could see God's hand at work. His presence was in the quiet moments with Madeline, in the laughter we shared, in the simple act of being there for each other. I knew my purpose was now clearer than ever, to show others that even in the midst of suffering, there was hope, that even in our weakness, God's strength is made perfect. My walk with Jesus was no longer about trying to fix my life, but about allowing Him to work through me, to touch the lives of others through my story. It wasn't about how I looked or how well I could perform. It was about letting people see the peace that could come in the midst of pain. It was about showing them that I didn't have it all figured out, but that I had found something far greater than my circumstances. I had found Jesus. I began to share my story more openly, sharing the lessons I had learned along the way. I didn't have to be perfect. I didn't have to have all the answers, but I had to be willing to trust God and follow His lead. And even when it was hard, and that was enough. Every day, I chose to live in faith, and every day I saw God's provision in ways I could never have imagined. It wasn't the kind of provision I expected. It wasn't miraculous healings or dramatic answers to prayers. It was the quiet, steady peace that He provided in the midst of the storm. The pain in my body was still there, but it no longer controlled me. The fatigue was still present, but it didn't define my day. I was learning to live fully, not in spite of my suffering, but because of it. The suffering had brought me to a place where I could no longer rely on myself. I had to rely fully on God, and in that dependence, I found true freedom.